Okay, quick update from me. Following on from previous podcast called what was it? Big Tech Con Artists Making Life Harder. I just want to share with you a conversation that I had with my internet provider. I had some details that I needed to update, being my phone number and my payment details. And they couldn't guarantee me that I wouldn't receive any SMS. I don't accept SMS as a valid form of communication with anybody, especially not from service providers who automatically opt me in to that method of communication without asking me first. And, some of you might be thinking, well, man, come on, this is just the way the world's going now, just go along with it. What's the big deal? It's just a text message. Well, no, it's not just a text message at all. Certainly not in the context of these files, and not in the context of what I've come to understand about SMS messaging and the systems that we're automatically being included in as a direct violation of our rights to make that choice for ourselves. So where we're at in this regard is that big tech are basically saying, oh yeah, look, you have rights, and all these companies, you have rights, but we're going to take them from you first. And then if you're not happy about it, you just let us know and we'll opt you out. Thanks for playing fail. This is not the right way to go about things. So look, anyway, I was told that it wasn't possible for them to opt me out of receiving text messages, and that all they could do was put a note on my account, which is fascinating to me. When I had to update my payment details, they couldn't tell me, first of all, they couldn't take that information over the phone from me verbally, presumably because for account security. And then secondly, they couldn't tell me the link that I needed to go to online to update it myself, which I'm quite happy to do, but they couldn't tell me what the link was. And the reason I asked them to tell me what the link was is because the only way they could get it to me was via SMS or email. They actually couldn't tell me what the link was over the phone. They had no access to what this link is over the phone. So I agreed to receive an email from them with the link, which is valid for 48 hours, and I was able to just go in and update my details. But get this. On the one hand, they're worried about account security, but on the other hand, they're sending emails which are non-secure, and I have to go online to update my payment details, which is also non-secure. So again, we get back to, the internet being non-secure, that businesses seem to be under the impression that if they follow the way the technology tells them to do things and the way big tech tells them to do things, that it's all good and they're not getting left behind as far as doing business goes. Well, they may not be getting left behind, but we, the consumer, are. Our rights are being taken and only given back if we raise our hand. I was on the phone for probably a good half an hour to 40 minutes, maybe more, on 3 simple things. The information that I needed couldn't be given to me over the phone verbally because they didn't know. And this is because all of it's an automated system that I'm automatically a part of, and I don't get a say in anything. It's actually not in their terms of service. And where it is, it's a consumer rights violation to subject people or to discriminate against those of us who, one, don't have smartphones, not much point sending me a text message. I can't send anything back, and I don't want to receive them anyway. And there's not much point sending me a link by SMS if I don't have a smartphone. It came as a surprise to the woman on the other end of the line that smartphones are not the only kinds of phones that are for sale. There are other phones. There are phones that don't include this instant access to the internet, as if that should ever have been a thing in the first place. But yeah, I just wanted to share that with you, that for updating 2 sets of details taking 45 minutes, somewhere between half an hour and 45 minutes, after, getting the usual follow the prompts and if press this number and press that number and all the rest of it. And I'm sure a lot of you can sympathise, especially with that bit. And when you call a service provider or utilities provider or any business really, and you're given this diatribe at the start of this menu and all the different numbers that you've got to choose from, and finally get through to an operator who can't really do much for you anyway, except the basics, and can't even opt you out of SMS messaging. It is a classic example of big tech con artists making life harder. I felt sorry for the girl on the other end of the line. She seemed sweet and nice enough. I'd probably be considered a problem customer, even though I was very nice to her. But that my requests and my rights didn't really suit their system, which is a bit silly because it's discriminating against human rights, consumer rights, and my right to use the phone of my choice, which is not a smartphone. So, unfortunately, a lot of people do just go along with it because they do have a smartphone. They hate getting constant notifications from these companies because it fills up their inbox, but they don't say anything about it. They don't ask to be opted out because that's time consuming. Everybody's already under the hammer, and with a sense of apathy, on a broader scale, people have just accepted this complete ridiculous invasion of our rights and our headspace, and the removal of our sovereign right to make these choices for ourselves in terms of how we like to be contacted. Simply because, life is hard enough, and why bother with this stuff? But unfortunately, that's why we end up in the position we are in today. It is because everybody's under the hammer, and at the end of the day, nobody's got the energy to address the things that we actually need to address to stop them from happening. We are driven to a state of apathy. I'm not. And I think the main reason that I'm not, and that I do speak up, and that I do put it forward on the phone with these people, is because I understand the damage that it's doing, whereas most people don't. They don't think it's a problem. It's a little bit annoying, but it's not really a problem. It is a massive problem. And when you understand how the technology is actually impacting the world and other human beings, you will come to understand how dangerous a text message actually is. You may have heard me say in a previous podcast it's a form of terrorism. There's an actual scientific basis for that statement. So look, anyway, that's just an update, another classic example of big tech con artists making life harder, pushing businesses into using methods of doing business that are annoying, rights violating, nonsensical, ineffective, unprofessional, and time consuming. Well done, big tech, well done. We didn't actually ever used to have this problem. Okie dokie. I'll be back soon.